Prizm color cabin mood lighting. What is it? Prizm lighting was actually engineered and designed by an MRO for MROs. And the reason that's important is this wasn't designed by engineers that haven't seen the inside of an airplane before, that don't know much about the cabin of an aircraft. This was actually designed by the engineers at Elliott Aviation, taking all the things they liked about cabin lighting, the things they didn't like, and coming up with a product that they felt was perfect for color mood lighting. They've been trying to sell cabin mood lighting in the past, and due to pricing points and other feature sets that weren't there, it just wasn't the easiest thing to get into an airplane. So they took a few years and invested in this and came up with Prizm cabin lighting. So that's just one thing we like to point out, that it was actually designed by an MRO for MROs, people that had experience working with cabin lighting. So a fully scalable system, TBM 850, PC12, you go as that small. We have it in a lot of King Airs, all the way up to an airliner. It's being configured out on some airline reconversions as we speak. So very scalable, which makes it very flexible to work with. It is full color spectrum, RGBW, cabin mood lighting. That means you have millions of colors available to you. Not that you'd ever use all those, but we like to point that out, that you can get just about any color you would ever want inside your airplane. You can create unlimited custom moods in seconds. You can do that from your carry-on device. If you come up with a mood that's perfect for you, you can name it and save it. A lot of people seem to have 5 or 6 moods that they will just typically use: a morning mood, a nighttime deplaning, relax mood, work mode, movie. So you can actually build and save all your own moods, and you can do that in seconds right from a carry-on device. You can save configurations if you have multiple aircraft and you decide to put the Prizm lighting in more than one. Once you get them all configured, you can save that, stamp them out, and put them across different aircraft. Edge lit customizable cup holders. You can see the picture on the bottom there. We also have that as another way to personalize your airplane, and those become part of the Prizm system, so you can control the color of those cup holders as well. It works with existing switching, so if you have bright, dim, on, off, all those switches already in your aircraft cabin, it's going to work with those via discretes. The system just takes basic, simple, discrete inputs for control. Also works with a customizable app that's always synced up 100% to your exact airplane. It's not a generic app that you download where there's going to be functions showing on that app that are not applicable to your airplane. It will always be perfectly synced to your airplane. The system is, of course, PMA, DO 160, 178 compliant for easy installation. One controller powers and controls the entire system, so you can get rid of old ballasts and power supplies and fluorescent bulbs if you have those that break easily, or older LEDs that are starting to yellow. It replaces everything, and you have a very low hardware count, very lightweight system that requires no maintenance. There's a full 3-year warranty on it. Installs easily during an inspection or interior upgrade. Once that headliner's down, this is not that big of a deal to install, so it does install easily during inspections, interior refurbs, those kind of things. So not a big deal to add this in. Just a nice way to transform your aircraft cabin from plain white lights to, wow, that's pretty cool. Recent updates to the system, we're always listening to our dealers, and Duncan Aviation gave us quite a bit of feedback from their previous installations with the system. Multi-zones, if you have a larger airplane that's got more than one main cabin zone, very easy to do. You can do that with one controller or with 2. So galley, lav, main cabin zone 1, main cabin zone 2, that can all be set up and configured easily now within the configuration. Create and name unlimited custom moods, not that you need hundreds, but that's available to you. And again, you can do that quickly and easily, just pulling out your carry-on device and coming up with a mood, saving it and naming it. Easily save your configurations, like we said previously. Even the colors on the color wheel, there'll always be 10, so you don't have to tap the color wheel. There's going to be 10 pre-selected ones, and you can choose those, so you can always easily access your favorite colors that you tend to use the most. Smooth color transitions in the cabin. When you go from one color to another, it's not an abrupt change, it's smooth. We created some mood animations, kind of a neat feature for during boarding or deplaning. The lights in the cabin are slowly changing. There's about 5 or 6 preset ones for that, just kind of another neat experience for the passengers. You can now direct select a mood with one button press via your CMS system. So if you had a venue per se, You could name your moods and have the venue display the name of that mood. You could tap it and it'll go right to that mood. All the app functions now have user selectable names, so you can rename certain functions that make more sense to you, or however you want to do that. The app is improved. It's more intuitive, easier to read, and more expandable now. You can now also manipulate the white color temperature from the configuration. LEDs, by the nature of the product, that are either warm, soft, or cool in their native white light temp. You can actually change that now in the configuration to get the exact white light you're looking to do. We now have 2 LED lens choices. So there's a softer lens and a more brilliant one for brighter lighting. And we do have 3 native temps now for the white light, warm, soft, or cool. And again, if one of them is not your perfect choice you're looking for, you can further manipulate that in the configuration. The configuration tool, and that's really what the installers are going to be using to get your airplane set up exactly the way you want it. But we've simplified that so it's easier for the installers to actually configure your aircraft. Enhanced GoGo L5 router interfaces, wired or wirelessly, again making it easier for the installers to install this system. Multiple simultaneous commands and input support. This was something we added in when we realized when people are hitting a bunch of different buttons at once, it'll still support all that and recognize all that. And then night vision compliant, probably not something that everyone's going to need here, more of a military thing, but that mood is also available. About the products, there's a picture of one of the controllers. It's just that one controller. It's going to power and control all the LED lights, the smart vision shades if you had those, the lighted cup holders, and your discrete switch lights like your accent lights, reading lights. It'll power those as well. Only 4 total part numbers for this. So the system is simple to configure in that regard. A customizable app for any carry-on device for full control of all functions. So the Prizm interfaces to the aircraft Wi-Fi, or the Prizm has its own Wi-Fi access point. So if your airplane does not have Wi-Fi, the Prizm controller box has its own access point. You would just need to then do a Wi-Fi certification in the airplane. So that's how your carry-on device is controlling the Prizm controller. It's not Bluetooth, it's Wi-Fi for a variety of reasons. It's just a better way to go. Integrates with the GoGo Vision app. So if you're running the GoGo Vision app, you could tap accessories on that, and then Prizm lighting gets shown as a choice. You tap that and you're right on the Prizm app, so you don't have to log off GoGo and log on to the Prizm. So very easy to do that. And again, it interfaces with all the cabin switches already. 2 to 3 week lead time on the hardware. So if you're in for an inspection, you decide you want lighting, Duncan says, hey, your lighting is probably time to get updated, replaced, whatever. We'll probably never be the reason that you can't do that. We do work with all of our dealers like Duncan to get hardware quickly when needed. So that's not your typical 8-week lead time for color mood lighting. It's 2, sometimes quicker, typically for lead time. Everything's PMA, DO 160, 178 approvals, 3-year warranty. Currently flying, it's about 35 plus aircraft now. 0 issues out in the field on the Prizm lighting, absolutely none, no problems at all. And the system has been installed by Duncan, so they're already fluent on how to install it, how to configure it, and how to use it. The LED lights, kind of a nice feature. They can be purchased in up to 16-foot run length. Again, makes it simpler for the installing dealer. Just less pieces you have to connect, daisy chain, make connections for, potential light gaps. You can eliminate a lot of that having this 16-foot run length. And then as short as 1.55 inches. So you really, the installer has a lot of flexibility to get the exact lengths needed for your aircraft for a perfect installation. They come in rigid and flexible. So if you had some interesting things you wanted to do up on your headliner or in the headliner that's curved, you could do that with flexible. Typically the flexible is also used on the aisleway floor lighting. You can do that, accent lights down there. So both rigid and flexible. Warm, soft, or cool. We list out the Kelvin there. Some people are interested in that. Again, 2 lens choices, a soft and a brilliant, really, a softer one and a brighter one, however you want to look at that. But there are 2 lens choices. Up to 420 lumens per linear foot of brightness, multiple wire exits and choices on the LEDs. Again, things to make the installation simpler for the dealer to install the system in your aircraft. Machined aluminum clips that don't snap or break. Again, just things that we designed to make it easier to install versus what's out there right now. 1 channel on the controller box powers up to 16 foot of LED lengths. The channels are 10 channel or a 20 channel controller, so you have 160 feet total or 320 feet total of aircraft lighting. So typically a 20 channel box is going to cover most aircraft up to a global. You might add a second box on a large airplane like that, but you might not need to. The LEDs have the 75,000 hour mean time between failure, and they are maintenance free. The controller specs, I think I mentioned there's 4 altogether. There's a 10 channel Prizm light only and a 20 channel Prizm light only, and it lists out the feet there, how many total linear feet you could power up with one box. So you could do up to 320 with the Dash 52 controller, or 160 with the Dash 51. Shows how many single lights, accent lights you could do in addition to the Prizm mood lighting. And then the other 2 are the exact same. They just have the ability to control the smart vision shades if you wanted that option. You can also see the boxes have a small footprint. They're all the exact same footprint. They just get a little taller depending on which box it is. And they're all pretty light as well. Configuration tool, again, this is for the installer. This is kind of the brains of the system. This is how they configure, okay, what happens during power up? What do you want to happen first? Here's an example. What do you want to do if someone keeps hitting the dim switch? It keeps going down, down, down. What do you want it to do at the bottom? Do you want the lights to go off? Do you want them to stay dim, or do you want it to circle back up and go full bright? Those are the kind of things you can configure with the configuration tool. If your aircraft had a unique need, something that wasn't in the configuration tool, we have the ability to write FlexIO scripts. So basically anything you want to have happen in your airplane with the system, the configuration tool is what's going to make it all work and make it happen. And this is where also your app is being built. Just by the nature of configuring the airplane, the app is being built behind the scenes. And you can also hide functions that you might not want passengers to see on the app. This is where you can name functions on the app and all that kind of stuff. The user experience, customizable and lighted cup holders. You can see some examples here. You can put your N number, a logo. We did one there for Duncan Aviation. There's the dual one is actually in a Gulfstream. We made those special for a person that wanted the exact same cup holder in their Gulfstream. So we were able to make those and light them up. You just use one channel on the controller box because these can all be controlled, and colors can change and all that, just like the regular Prizm lights, and they are spill proof for that eventuality. So kind of a nice feature and a neat way to further personalize your cabin. Here's just some screenshots of what the app looks like. Kind of get an idea. It's just, what do you want to do? What do you want to control? Upwash, downwash, different moods, different zones within the airplane. This is how you could go in and do that. And again, you don't have to do everything from a carry-on device. If you wanted to come up with your go-to moods that you like, you can actually do all that and then have a mood select button put in the aircraft, or name the mood and be able to access it from the cabin management system. And those are all things we talk about during your spec of the system. We'll come up with all those things and work with Duncan, and they work with you, and we end up with the exact lighting system you were looking for. Here's just an example of a large multi-zone aircraft, just different ways to do it. This one we use 2 controller boxes just to show you can do 2. There's some redundancy in that regard if you're using 2. And if you decide to add on later with different lighting functions, you have some capability with the 2 boxes. But just kind of a pictorial view there of, yep, you can do that. Multi-zone is easy to do with Prizm. Unlimited possibilities, any aircraft size and configuration. Just some different screenshots, different colors. The white, people ask, hey, the mood lighting's really neat. How is it for bright white work mode? Well, there's one in work mode. It lights the cabin up pretty darn bright. So you kind of get the idea there. So just a lot of different ways to personalize your in-flight experience. Duncan Aviation, one of our premier dealers for installing these systems. So we definitely like working with Duncan Aviation. They do great work. They know how to put the system in. They're experienced on it. So probably one of your best choices there to get Prizm lighting put in. And again, if you have any technical questions on the hardware, you can reach out to me. My name is Tim Lockerbie. I can be reached at 630-207-7460. And I really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.